Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today we're going to be talking about a follow-up article to the nonsense from Esquire that I talked about the other day. So Matt Miller is at it again, proving that he is still an ignoramus, an asshat, the king of asshats perhaps. I think we might have someone who's taken Rian Johnson's throne, and it's because he obviously is showing lack of intelligence. Anyway, says, I called out toxic Star Wars fandom, and then they proved my point. No. You called out Star Wars fans. You said Star Wars fans ruin Star Wars, even though fans cannot ruin a franchise. You realize that fans are necessary in order for a franchise to be a franchise. I talked about this the other day. In order for a franchise to exist, by the very concept of what a franchise is you need fans. You need people who are going to go out of their way to support the films, buy the products, and all these other things. You need that. Otherwise, you don't have a franchise, bud. And you called out that franchise. You called out those fans who supported that franchise and said, oh, yeah, you're a bunch of racist, misogynistic people. And you say these words, you don't know what they mean. Seeing that, for starters, many people a part of this movement are women. So unless you're saying that they're self-hating women, which is just a beautiful expression and total nonsense. And also, too, you misunderstand that we have a tremendous amount of diversity of culture and background as well. My Valkyrie alone can tell you something about that. Can knock you out of your seat with the truth and spit the facts. But you ignore that. And it's interesting, too, because you're a white man. You are an entitled, white, liberal elitist. That is what you are. And it's people like you that are bringing the society down. Because you're the ones who say, oh, racism, sexism. But you're the white man trying to tell everyone else, including women and people of different backgrounds and different races, how to think. Because you have no diversity of thought. You cannot for a second conceive that there are actual people out there that are not liberal, that are not SJW, that are not NPC, whatever term you want to use. You're just completely ignorant of the fact because you've been kept in this bubble. This bubble that doesn't allow for different thought to come in. And anytime another thought does come in, oh, it's immediately marked as racist, bad, evil, sexist, homophobic, you name it. Any word. You have no idea what you're talking about. And the fact that Esquire is hosting your articles is ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous. Esquire should be ashamed of having someone like you on their platform. Ooh, come at me. Seriously, come at me. Last week, I published an article titled, The Year Star Wars Fans Finally Ruined Star Wars. Again, it's impossible. In it, I very specifically discussed the loud section of Star Wars fans who have spent the year attacking the film, its director, and its actors with misogynist and racist online harassment. I'm pretty sure that's not how, I think you mean misogynistic and, I think you might need to change your word there. Maybe, I don't know. Am I an English major? Who knows? But all I can say is no. We've been attacking the film because the film sucks. We've been attacking the director because the director has been attacking us and been an asshat about it, and it has nothing to do with the race or gender of the people involved. Are there some people out there? Are there some, maybe less than a percentage points, that are racist and sexist? Sure, and guess what? You're never going to get rid of it. Unless you make some kind of pill to totally neuter human nature, which is stupid, you're always going to have crazy people. You can't just root out craziness. It doesn't work that way. So you're trying to say, oh, there's a few people that are racist, and therefore I'm going to paint an entire movement as a part of that group. You're saying I can't be critical of Kathleen Kennedy because if I am, that makes me a sexist. You're saying I can't be critical of John Boyega because if I am, that makes me a racist. That's not how it works. That is not how the world works. I can criticize whoever the hell I want, whatever race they are, whatever gender they are. It doesn't matter. You want to know why? Because I'm not speaking from some white privilege. I'm speaking as a human person who saw a movie that is so intrinsically flawed, objectively flawed, and I'm sick and tired of asshats like you calling people like me out, calling me things that I know I'm not, and everyone around me knows that I'm not. And it's sad, too, because there are ignorant people out there who are going to see these headlines and say, oh, man, there are a bunch of racists and sexists, and, oh, you're a part of that? How dare you be a part of that? You're so evil. So it does affect me. Even though you might not be calling my name out, you called out Doomcock, you called out world-class BSers, which is just hilarious because world-class BSers is like a very diverse group of people, but obviously you don't care about that because you don't check your facts. You're so idiot. You're such an idiot. It's ridiculous. It seems a lot of readers either didn't read the article or took this as an excuse to get angry online because holy crap, these people went absolutely bat crap crazy. Really, Esquire? Like, is this journalism to you? I mean, I know that there are other people who do YouTube who curse and stuff like that, but this is supposed to be like an article. This is supposed to be worth reading, and you're gonna have cursing in it. I mean, that's a pet peeve of mine, you know, as a theology teacher. But is it really necessary for you to do that? Really? People went bad crap because there's crazy people online. You could have made an article about flowers, and there would have been some crazy horticulturalist who would have been like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a racist," or "Oh my God, I hate you," or "I'm gonna kill you. Leave my flowers alone." That is how crazy people are, because it doesn't matter what you talk about. There's always crazy people. Look at my own comment section. I've had threats. I've had people call me the worst names possible. I've had people call me out on Twitter. You name it. And you know what I do? I say, I'm just going to move on, because I don't care what they think, because I know what I am. I know who I am, and I'm not going to let some crazy person define who I am. You obviously have very thin skin. You obviously have no idea what you're talking about, because you're lying. You're just straight up lying about the facts. You're straight up lying about the entire fandom menace. But obviously you're showing yourself to be a certain term that rhymes with wussy. Let me just put it that way. I find it hilarious that people can get so worked up over a family-oriented sci-fi film. Fantasy. It's a fantasy film, not a sci-fi film. I mean, I can understand that there's some sci-fi elements, but it's mostly at its heart a fantasy film. And yes, it's a family-oriented, but it does not mean, that doesn't mean it's a kid's movie. What that means is that it's good for the entire family. There are pieces and parts for every single person of every single age and background. So I don't know what your point is there. That they'll say some truly unhinged crap online. I also find it hilarious that at least 2 different people spent the time to make 30-minute videos discussing my article. Well, yeah, because you're an idiot. And there's a lot of there was a lot of stuff there. I could have gone through the whole article too, but guess what? I'm not going to give you that kind of support. I didn't watch it either. Of course not. So, okay, let me get this right. You criticize people for not reading the article. Let's go back up for a second. You say, A, people didn't read the article. So you're saying that that's a problem. You're saying that that's why people attacked you. And yet you, who are about to attack other people, are saying, well, I didn't watch them. You're a hypocrite. Now you're just a self-described hypocrite. Why are you still writing at this point? You have no idea what you're talking about. But one was made by some person named Doomcock. Yep, a legitimately good name. Yeah, he's an awesome person who speaks with some sort of Darth Vader voice effect and looks like a low-rent Phantom of the Paradise. So now you're calling him out. If you think that you're just going to skirt by this, if you think that this isn't going to affect your job at all, you going after people who have a tremendous amount of influence online. Yeah, they might not be the Star Wars. Yeah, they might not be the huge corporations, PewDiePie, or anything else, but they've got a huge amount of traction online. Doomcock especially has a lot of support. I've seen that man's live streams. He gets a lot of donations from a lot of people from all over the world. Hail Doomcock. And I mean that with all seriousness, coming from the Norse god. But seriously, like you're just, I mean, at the very least, you put his video in here, right? Oh, wait, no, it's an image. Oh, it's just an image. So, okay, so you're going to use his image, but you're not going to actually, you know, give him any credit. Okay, I got you. I get it. I mean, don't worry. I don't do it to you either. I don't put your links to your articles in there because I don't want to give your articles any more clicks. That's why I read it for people. So that way they don't have to read it themselves. Other responses to me were less eloquent. Many of these tweets told me to kindly F off, biatch. They called me an SJW, a shill. Well, you are a shill. God, how I wish I were making that Disney money. Well, you are a shill. Shill doesn't mean that you're making money. Shill means that you are saying these things because you want to remain in the good graces of Disney. Because out of all this, I guarantee you Disney's probably going to reach out to you and give you something. Offer you press passes. Anything. What we mean by shills is we mean people who don't want to say anything that's true. They stay very tepid and they stay very safe in their reviews of movies, of anything really, because they know that if they speak the truth, if they speak their mind, they don't get the press passes. They don't get those offerings. That was what I mean by shill. And you are obviously very much a huge shill for this. In my comments, I learned what the term NPC means. It's a new pro-Trump insult comparing me to a program bot that regurgitates progressive talking points. Well, you are a bot that regurgitates progressive talking points, and it's not just pro-Trump. You're talking to a guy that didn't vote for Donald Trump. Yet somehow I'm pro-Trump. See, this is the problem with you people, is that you like to just put everyone together. And you say, well, you do the same thing. We say SJW. It's like, again, SJW is an accurate term. It means you're a social justice warrior. NPC, it means that you regurgitate the same crap over and over again, no matter what the situation is. As I said before, if you had made an article about flowers, people would have attacked you and you'd have been like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize just how hateful the flower community is. Like, seriously. They claim Kelly Trans online harassment was actually faked by Disney. They called for me to get fired. Well, again, I don't want anyone to... I'm not going to call for anyone to be fired, but you're not showing any evidence as to why you should be employed by this group. Unless you're getting a lot of page clicks or whatever, if this is the type of garbage that goes from Esquire, I have no reason to ever go to Esquire again. The only reason why I'm even talking about you right now is because you're calling me out. It's because you're calling my community out. And I'm not going to stand for that. And guess what? My community is rich, is diverse, filled of various backgrounds, various peoples, of all sexual orientations, genders. Yes. And I mean everything that you think that I mean by that. Because guess what? I believe that there was only two genders because guess what? There are. But even there are people out there who have different opinions on that. And guess what? They still support this community as well. You want to know why? Because we have diverse thought. That's the one thing that we do have that you don't have. You live in the echo chamber. If someone doesn't agree with you, oh, I'm going to label them a racist. I'm going to label them a sexist, a homophobe. And you have no idea what you're talking about. It's truly a bunch of absurd crap. And it's exactly what I'm talking about. The fandom has become toxic. And that's just what I get a lot of this. I'm not a racist, but I just didn't like the Star Wars Last Jedi. Let me be clear, folks. I don't care if you hated Space Vegas. I don't care if you thought Luke's characterization was wrong. I don't care if you hated Kylo's shirtless scene. I'm not talking about you. Yes, you are. You're throwing all of us into the same boat. If you're calling out people like Doomcock and World Class BSers, guess what? You are talking about the same people. You're an imbecile. I'm very clearly different. I very clearly differentiate between fans who dislike the film for legitimate creative reasons and the fans who piled on the film because they don't agree with Lucasfilm's casting of non-white actors and some of its progressive themes. No one cares about the non-white actors. What we do care about is forced diversity. That we do have a problem with. At the end of the day, if the actor's great, fine. If the character is fitting within the story, that's fine. No problem. But when you have a character like Rose Tico, who really has no place in the film and is one of the worst characterizations of all time, and it was done to pander to Asian markets, that I have a problem with. And guess what? So did the Asian market, which is why no one saw it in Asia. So yeah, I do have a problem with that. And that's a legitimate reason. That is a legitimate filmmaking reason, to use your words. The response to this article demonstrated that there's a core section of the Star Wars fandom that is rotten, and it's amplified by pervasive social media harassment and vocal far-right abusers. There it is right there. Anyway, thanks for proving my point, trolls. No, thank you for proving our point. You see, you're writing this article trying to say, look, I have the high ground. But you have sunk just so much lower. You have sunk so much lower than you already were. Because not only have you now responded to us, showing that you heard us, and showing that you felt us, but now you have pretty much buried yourself. Because guess what? The hateful people are going to come right back at you. I don't support that. But guess what? They're crazy. So they're going to come back at you no matter what you say. And now, even more so, the people that you lumped in with these crazies is also going to come back at you as well. Because you try and say, I don't care if you have a legitimate reason. But then you just go off to attack an entire group of people that aren't racist, that aren't sexist, that aren't misogynist. Because, as I've made very clear during this entire video, you have no idea what you're talking about. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Guys, and I know that people will say, oh, you might get in trouble with this. I don't care. If this video gets demonetized, so be it. Don't click on this article. Do not give Esquire any clicks. Do not give Matt Miller any clicks. In fact, don't read any of his stuff from this point forward, because this guy shouldn't have a job. I'm not calling for him to be fired. Like, oh, let me be very clear. I'm not calling for him to be fired. I just honestly, from my perspective, cannot see why you would have someone like this writing the way that he is, attacking an entire group of people for stupid reasons, for unfounded reasons. Why you would allow that kind of a person to represent your brand. That's the only question I put out there. Thanks for watching, guys, and God bless.